Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, verses 52 and 53. And the chapter is entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. And the class will be given by Her Grace Sri Devi Mataji from ISKCON Mayapur. So she just got power back on. So we're very, very happy to have her. So we will hand the time over to her. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Accept my obeisances, August Sri Prabhupada.
Please accept mine, my dear Anasuya, and all the devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to our wonderful Gurudevs. Your cheery opening note puts everybody in such a good mood, Anasuya.
I don't know about that one.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dirayet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. I offer my most humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha padita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And I very humbly request your blessings, especially Anasuya and Parikshit Prabhu's blessings, my seniors, that I may be able to do justice to the service that they have kindly given me. Hare Krishna. So, we are in chapter 13, Dhritarashtra Quits Home of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just to give you some context, who is speaking? Here, actually, Narad Muni is speaking to Yudhishthir Maharaj. He has just arrived on the scene. Let's go back a little bit. What is happening over here is Dhritarashtra, Vidur, and Dhritarashtra with Gandhari, they have left for the Himalayas. And Yudhishthir is very anxious, not seeing his uncle, not seeing his auntie. He's asking, where have they gone? Where have they gone? And Sanjay, who is also feeling bereft without his master's association, he had been a faithful servant for so long, is also in tears and he's not also able to answer him. And the truth of the matter is, Vidur has come and preached to Dhritarashtra. And he has used very heavy words to cut through the illusion that Dhritarashtra is in, and Dhritarashtra, understanding the import and the gravity of what Vidur is telling him, immediately leaves the home of Yudhishthir Maharaj and the 5 Pandava brothers and takes off for the Himalayas in order to fulfill the purpose of the human form of life. So very heavy words Vidur uses. Why? To cut through the illusion, because Dhritarashtra is literally living like a dog. Bhima is throwing scraps at him and tormenting him, teasing him, and he's just trying his level best to, pull on in that situation, not realizing that the material body is dwindling day by day. He has reached old age. And Vidur chastises him. He says, you're an old man. Your memory is going. You're coughing up mucus. Your teeth are loosened. Your eyesight is diminishing. Your intelligence is diminishing. What are you doing here? Leave and take off for the forest and meditate on the Supreme Lord and make your life perfect. So he's just explaining this. I will read this verse which has no purport and we'll go to the next one. It goes like this. Shrotobi saptabhirva yaval swaradhuni saptadavyadhat saptanam pritaye nana saptashrota prachakshate. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The place is called Saptashrota, divided by 7, because there the waters of the sacred Ganges were divided into 7 branches. This was done for the satisfaction of the 7 great rishis. As we know, Mother Ganga originates in the Himalayas at Gangotri, and then she wanders down. Sometimes she breaks up into rivulets, then she joins again together. She follows a winding path down all the way to the Bay of Bengal. But Mother Ganga is revered throughout because she has come down from the spiritual world emanating from the lotus feet of the Lord to sanctify all the worlds. Ganga Mata ki jai. Let's go to the next verse, please, because there's no purport. The practice is we don't speak anything where Srila Prabhupada has not given a purport. That's etiquette. 113.53. This is the verse we are going to speak on by mercy of Guru and Krishna. Snadvanusavanam tasmin putva chagnim yatha vidhi abhaksha upashantatma saaste vigataishanaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. On the banks at Saptashrota, Dhritarashtra is now engaged in beginning Ashtanga Yoga by bathing 3 times daily in the morning, noon, and evening, by performing the Agnihotra sacrifice with fire, and by drinking only water. This helps one control the mind and the senses and frees one completely from thoughts of familial affection. Purport. The yoga system is a mechanical way to control the senses and the mind and divert them from matter to spirit. The preliminary processes are the sitting posture, meditation, spiritual thoughts, manipulation of air passing within the body, and gradual situation in trance, facing the absolute person, Paramatma. Such mechanical ways of rising to the spiritual platform prescribe some regulative principles of taking bath 3 times daily, fasting as far as possible, sitting and concentrating the mind on spiritual matters, and thus gradually becoming free from Vishaya or material objectives. Material existence means to be absorbed in the material objective, which is simply illusory. House, country, family, society, children, property, and business are some of the material coverings of the spirit, Atma, and the yoga system helps one to become free from all these illusory thoughts and gradually turn towards the absolute person, Paramatma. By material association and education, we learn simply to concentrate on flimsy things, but yoga is a process of forgetting them altogether. Modern so-called yogis and yoga systems manifest some magical feats, and ignorant persons are attracted by such false things, or they accept the yoga system as a cheap healing process for diseases of the gross body. But factually, the yoga system is the process of learning to forget what we have acquired throughout the struggle for existence. Dhritarashtra was all along engaged in improving family affairs by raising the standard of living of his sons, or by usurping the property of the Pandavas for the sake of his own sons. These are common affairs for a man grossly materialistic and without knowledge of the spiritual force. He does not see how this can drag one from heaven to hell. By the grace of his younger brother Vidur, Dhritarashtra was enlightened and he could see his grossly illusory engagements. And by such enlightenment, he was able to leave home for spiritual realization. Sri Narad Dev was just foretelling the way of his spiritual progress in a place which was sanctified by the flow of the celestial Ganges. Drinking water only without solid food is also considered fasting. This is necessary for advancement of spiritual knowledge. A foolish man wants to be a cheap yogi, but without observing the regulative principles. A man who has no control over the tongue at first can hardly become a yogi. Yogi and bhogi are two opposite terms. The bhogi, or the merry man who eats and drinks, cannot be a yogi. For a yogi is never allowed to eat and drink unrestrictedly. We may note with profit how Dhritarashtra began his yoga system by drinking water only and sitting calmly in a place with a spiritual atmosphere, deeply absorbed in the thoughts of Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Chandramauli Swaminiti Namane. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Tarini. So here we are seeing a description of the Jnana Yoga system. The Jnanis, they meditate on the impersonal Brahmajyoti because they want to merge into the Brahmajyoti of the Lord. But the yogic process is to see the Paramatma by the process of Dhyana Yoga. So this process of meditation is being described. Even in the Gita, Krishna describes the process to Arjuna. And Arjuna says, this is impossible. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna said, this is impossible. So what to speak of the present age we are in, where there's weapons of mass destruction abound. Where is the possibility of performing the yogic process? Take to the Himalayas and sit in all kinds of weather and focus inward, regulate the incoming breath, Purak, Rechak, this thing, that thing, Vastrika Pranayam, do this, do that. It's a very tedious, very troublesome, very difficult. And in the end, we may not even achieve the objective. That is the fallibility of this process. So Srila Prabhupada says, take to the Bhakti Yoga process, make your life successful, because it is very difficult to do all these things. This is a very troublesome process, as Srila Prabhupada explains in the Gita. But still, it is important to remember that the yogic process has some important components that we also undertake. For example, we do fasting. Why we do fasting? It is to minimize the bodily demands and remind ourselves that there is a higher purpose and focus of the human form of life, which is to connect spirit with the Supreme Spirit. What is yoga? Yoga means linking to the divine. Yoga, that's the actual meaning of yoga. We are actually eternally connected to Krishna. The soul cannot ever be separated from Krishna. But because we have this material covering called the gross material body, the subtle material body consisting of the mind, intelligence, false ego, and the gross body made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, which we identify with as the self, that's where all the problem is because of ignorance. The vast majority of people consider the body to be the self. But Srila Prabhupada says real education begins when one understands the difference between matter and spirit. Real intelligence is to understand the difference between the living person, the soul, and the body. What's the difference between a dead body and living body? The living body has a soul in it, and the dead body, the soul has left the body and it is deteriorating. So Srila Prabhupada made everything very clear for us so that we do not get distracted by all these varieties of yogic processes which are all there. The Mayavadis, the impersonalists, they're ready to catch us at any moment. They say, oh, you can become God, you can become Narayan. They address each other also like that, Om Namo Narayanaya. And their ultimate aim is to become God, as though that is ever possible. They do not want to serve, they do not want to surrender, they absolutely do not even want to know about the personality of Godhead Krishna. Such is their envy of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada just came to smash all this Mayavadi nonsense. In fact, his Pranam Mantra, the second part of the Pranam Mantra that Srila Prabhupada introduced specifically after the deviation began, where people started saying, anyway, we won't go there. But he said, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Tarini. The first part is, I offer my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who has taken complete shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who is so dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter of his lotus feet. Namaste Saraswate Deve, offer obeisances to you, O servant of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. You're kindly preaching the message of Chaitanya Dev, and you're delivering the Western countries which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. So people have forgotten who is God. People have forgotten what is our relationship with God. People have forgotten who we really are. And they're continuing this struggle for existence in a vain attempt to find happiness by what? Gratifying the senses. Eat, drink, and be merry. Hedonism, as we call it. Simply gratifying the senses. But it is a fruitless endeavor because the senses can never be satisfied. It is like trying to put out fire by pouring more fuel on it. So this will never satisfy the soul because we are not the body, we are not the mind either, we are not the senses either. Real happiness can only be found on the spiritual platform when the soul connects to the super soul in loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And Vidur does not want Dhritarashtra to lose the opportunity afforded by the human form of life. So what does he say? He says very heavy things, isn't it? You remember the previous, he tells, why are you living like a dog? He practically shouts at his brother and he says that you are practically living like taking alms, taking scraps from your brother. Why are you doing this? He shouts at, scolds him practically, chastises him and tells him, get out of this illusion. See, he says over here, O king, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal principle or the material body to be perishable or everything to exist in the impersonal absolute truth or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, feelings of separation are only due to illusory affection and nothing more. So, Vidur is a well-wisher. He does not chastise his brother needlessly. He wants his brother to not lose the opportunity. He says to him, there is no need to live a degraded life. This is text 24. And subsist on the charity of those whom you tried to kill by arson and poisoning. You insulted their married wife. You usurped their kingdom and wealth. Despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to live even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment. And he tells him, he is called undisturbed, who goes to an unknown remote place and freed from all obligation, quits his material body when it has become useless. Therefore, in text 28, leave for the north immediately without letting your relatives know, for soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of all men. And egged on by the stern words of his brother, who cuts through with his very heavy speech. It's a very strong speech that Vidur tells his brother. Dhritarashtra leaves home and goes to the forest. And understanding the need to now bring his mind and senses under control, he engages in this yogic process and absorbs his mind in constant remembrance of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And for that, Srila Prabhupada explains, you can't become a yogi just like that. You have to learn to restrain your senses, which means fasting, drinking only water, controlling the mind and senses. You can't just unrestrictedly eat, sleep, drink, and be merry and say, I'm a yogi. Or you may even acquire some mystic powers, because many people do acquire mystic powers. They concoct their body and they can twist and turn and do all kinds of things. But is that the aim of human life? To become a gymnast? Srila Prabhupada says, what is this pressing the nose business? He says, this is all superficial. This is not going to help you achieve the aim of the human form of life, which is to connect with Krishna in loving service and ante Narayan Smriti. That means remembrance of Krishna at the time of death. How are we going to remember Krishna at the time of death if we don't remember him throughout our life in loving service? So loving service to Krishna, engaging in the 9 processes of bhakti is essential for us to remember Krishna at the time of death. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru, mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosimi. Engage your mind always and think of me. Always think of me. Become my devotee. Offer homage to me and worship me. Thus, being absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Krishna says this. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyamate pratijani prami. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. If you do these 4 things, I promise to take you back. Now Krishna, when he makes a promise, he keeps it. He's not like us, make a promise and then after 3 days say, oh, did I really say that? That's what we do. But Krishna is not like that. When he says something, he does it. When he makes a promise, he keeps it. He gives his word to his devotee that you do these things, I will take you back. So this, so Dhritarashtra has now gone to a sacred place on the banks of the Ganga in the Himalayas. This is another very important point because in this fast-paced world that we live in, you know, as I said before, the weapons of mass destruction, where is it possible to calm the mind, to still the mind, to engage in the process of bhakti? This is why Srila Prabhupada gave us the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is why Srila Prabhupada gave us the temples and places of worship so that we can come. Srila Prabhupada called these temples oases in the desert of material existence. So we can come, we can contemplate the beautiful form of the Lord who is gorgeously dressed with opulent clothes, jewelry, flower garlands. There's always wonderful fragrance of incense, and nice fragrance of Mahaprasadam being offered to the Lord. Who will not be attracted to this process? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. 9 processes of bhakti beginning with hearing and chanting. This is the foundation. We must hear, and the mind must get saturated more and more with thoughts of Krishna. It is as Srila Prabhupada explained, supposing there's a cup full of ink and you keep pouring water and you keep pouring water, finally the point will come when all the ink has gone and that cup will be filled with pure water. So we want to get cleansed of all this material contamination. This age, practicing the yoga system and controlling the breath and doing all these things, it's not possible for us to really reach the stage of bhakti to Krishna in this troublesome way. It's a very roundabout, very troublesome way, and one may not become successful. But in bhakti, it is an easy method. It's simple, it's sublime, it's attractive to the soul, and it brings real happiness. And the best part is, even if we do not attain full perfection in one lifetime, whatever progress we have made is not lost. It is there in your spiritual bank account eternally, and you will pick up from where you left off in your previous lifetime. And in fact, Krishna says, even if the yogic, even if the bhakti yogi does not complete the process, I give him birth in a family of transcendentalists or rich aristocracy. Suchinam Shibatam Gehe. So Krishna places that devotee in such a way, in such a situation that he can pick up and he can even accelerate his progress back home, back to Krishna. So I hope that I have explained the importance of Bhakti Yoga and how this process given to us by Srila Prabhupada is actually the topmost, the easiest, the most sublime, and the most guaranteed to give us success. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Golokera Premadhan Harinam Sankirtan. This Sankirtan has come from the spiritual world as a gift of love, and Lord Chaitanya is garlanding the whole material world. This Harinam Sankirtan woven with prema. What is this prema? Love of Radharani for Krishna. So we can actually taste this love. Actually, Harinam Sankirtan is not different from the Ras dance of Radha and Krishna and the gopis. So we are actually getting a chance to engage in this very sweet pastime when we come together and we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the more we hear about Krishna, the more we hear about the spiritual world, the more we are attracted to going back to Krishna and loving service to him and making our life perfect, because that's where we belong. That's our home. This material body is a diseased condition of life. We have fallen from grace and we have taken on this clunky, clumsy material bodies. And now we are trying to actually get rid of them by coming back to our original spiritual form of loving service to Krishna. And that begins with the tongue, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, naturally awakens that love which is there in the heart. Nitya Siddha, what is that? Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya Kabu Noy, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kariye Udoy. Pure love for Krishna exists in the heart of all living entities. It is not to be gained from any other external source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love of God naturally awakens. And this is available only in the human form of life. So my dear spirit souls, we have hit the jackpot. Lord Chaitanya has just come. And this is one Kali Yuga. He has come. Lord Chaitanya comes once in 1,000 Kali Yugas. So somehow we have hit the jackpot. We managed to take birth in the Kali Yuga where Lord Chaitanya comes. And he's giving us the highest of the high. Entrance into Golok Vrindavan through this process of Harinam Sankirtan, engaging in loving devotional service to Krishna and purifying our hearts and going back to Krishna. So there isn't a better, quicker, faster, guaranteed, sweet, sublime, simpler process than this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just this one simple thing, chanting our rounds, 16 rounds every day if we are initiated, strictly maintaining the 4 regulative principles, reading about Krishna, engaging in his loving service, associating with devotees will make our life perfect. Yes, true. I'm not exaggerating. Srila Prabhupada said this. So thank you all for listening. I'm very grateful that Anasuya and Parikshit Prabhu gave me the chance to offer my humble service to you. I hope it was beneficial. We can open up for comments, questions, corrections.
Thank you so much, Sridevi. Very nice class. Amazing points. Definitely very enlivening, especially the day after Christmas when we've had our temple program to really get revived again. Thank you so much. Yes, I'll have my husband ask his question.
Hare
And most
Krishna.
humble obeisances to Parikshit Prabhu.
Please accept mine or verse Srila Prabhupada. I don't have a question. I just want to comment about the lecture and how very, very inspiring it is. And it really touched my heart as you were speaking, and the excitement. And I pray that you maintain this excitement throughout your whole devotee life. It's very, very, very important. The enthusiasm is very, very obvious. Unless you're dead, you cannot, feel this enthusiasm. And it reminds me of what my spiritual master says sometimes. When you hear devotees preach and preach with enthusiasm, it makes you realize the fortune that we all have, just like you explained, to go back to Godhead. And the way you put it, we hit the jackpot, because Lord Chaitanya just appears once in the day of Lord Brahma. 1,000 Kali Yugas, it comes only in one of them. And we are close to that time. 500 years, it's very, very close to that time. We consider millions and millions and millions of years before Lord Chaitanya appears again. So yeah, thank you very much for a very enlightening lecture. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Parikshit Prabhu. You literally watched me grow as a toddler. So I must have caught some of your wives and your enthusiasm. That's how I'm enthusiastic. Look at Anusuya. She's always brimming with enthusiasm, optimism, cheerfulness. And so I have to thank you both for giving me some bhakti shakti over here. Thank you.
You
My
are
humble obeisances.
You are definitely so blessed by Chandramali Swami, Prabhu. So it's just amazing. No, really, really amazing points. Actually, I wanted to ask you, Prabhu, if you could shed some light on this point that you made, and I caught it. I'm so happy that the Lord had me catch it. When you mentioned Harinam Sankirtan, when we engage in Harinam Sankirtan, you mentioned that it's just like the rasa dance. You know, I've come across situations where people, you know, some devotees generally, you know, we tend to look at it at two different aspects. But when you said it, it's one and the same. Can you shed some light on that, please?
Yeah, because the soul is the soul by nature is full of ananda. Ananda means bliss. Ananda means spiritual happiness. That is the nature of the soul. Excuse me. What happens is we are so covered over, we have forgotten that connection. But when we engage in Harinam Sankirtan, the soul naturally awakens to the loving connection with Krishna, and we begin to dance in joy. Even a child dances, as Srila Prabhupada says, even a child gets infected with that spiritual ecstasy and starts dancing in ecstasy. And Srila Prabhupada explains, this Harinam Sankirtan is non-different from the rasa dance of Krishna and Radha, because it's the love exchange between the two that we are getting to taste in the form of this Harinam Sankirtan. So that is why it makes the soul so joyful, because this is our business in the spiritual world. We are assisting the divine couple in engaging in loving pastimes. That is our nature, to render loving service to Krishna, to Radha, to the gopis. You know, that is our, our existence is pure spiritual bliss in the spiritual world in loving service to Krishna. So we are getting a chance to taste a little bit of that through this nectar called Harinam Sankirtan, to remind us, hey, spirit soul, you can always be like this. You know, this bliss that you're experiencing now in this Harinam Sankirtan, 15, 20 minutes, 1 hour, whatever time you're dancing, this can be a permanent feature of your life if you go back to the spiritual world, where it is full of unlimited happiness, unlimited bliss, which is ever increasing. There nothing is static. Everything is dynamic and it's ever increasing, ever expanding, because spirit is unlimited. It's not like material thing, you know, limited, temporary. It's not like that. So we are given a chance to experience a little bit of the spiritual world through this Harinam Sankirtan.
Really powerful, Prabhu. Yeah. And as you were speaking about Harinam Sankirtan is like one of the same as the rasa dance. What's coming to my mind, you know, when devotees are out there chanting and dancing, like you said, it's a reflection of what goes on in Goloka Vrindavan in the dance with the Lord. That's so nice. I never thought of it that way. It's like so beautiful just thinking about it. So
And you
nice.
know, yes, and you're enthusing me simply by your response. I have to share this also. When the kirtan is sung very sweetly, very offenselessly, very lovingly, the Panchatattva will come into the kirtan. Yes, you can actually feel the presence of the Lord. Sometimes very powerful kirtaniyas, they can really invoke, you know, the presence of the Lord to such a degree that you actually feel the presence sometimes of the Lord. For example, when Narottam Das Thakur began singing at the festival, you know, after, what is that festival at
In Keturi, right?
in Keturi, yeah. Began singing so sweetly, began very slowly and picked up, and suddenly the Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, everybody was over there because they got attracted by his sweet, devotional, full of love singing. He attracted the Lord by his offenseless kirtan. So we can, you know, if we really try, we can chant and sing offenselessly and attract the Lord to come in the Kirtan.
It's amazing that you said that, because even as you were speaking, Prabhu, I was reading the last sentence, how Srila Prabhupada said, that Dhritarashtra began his yoga system by drinking water, sitting calmly in a place with a spiritual atmosphere.
Yes.
Just as what you were speaking about the pastime of Narottam Das Thakur, in a spiritual atmosphere, because of their powerful kirtan, they can attract the Lord to be present, deeply absorbed, Yeah. Amazing. I never thought of it as, that it's the reflection of the rasanas until you mentioned, yeah, wow, I didn't think about it. Such an
Yeah,
amazing
it is.
point. Absolutely. Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. Would like to ask devotees if any of the questions, any comments, clarification on this really amazing topic of chanting of the holy name. And especially when Srila Prabhupada mentioned this yogi and bogi, I said, oh my God, I heard that in Gitanagari.
Don't
In
be a
the old
bogi.
days, I forgot yogi bogi. I'm like, wait, yeah,
Very
it
good.
rings up. Sometimes you kind of forget the
Maharaj
lingo,
would say that, don't be a bogi yogi. What is this boga tyaga? He would say, what is this boga tyaga?
Yes. I remember that yogi bogi fast, lingo in the old Gitanagari days. I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's so funny, interesting. And Prabhupada, it's interesting that here Srila Prabhupada said, and I don't know why it never hit me, but my mind is so dull. Well, drinking water only without solid food is considered fasting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it is true. On Ekadashi days, if you take Charanamritam or if you drink water without eating any food, it is fasting because it's not considered food. You're just taking water.
That is that's actually very helpful for me, because I sometimes don't.
Yes.
That's really good to know, because
some people can do total Nirjal Ekadashi. Some people are doing also Nirjal Ekadashi, but not all of us can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do it long ago when my health was good. No, those days are gone now.
Me too. The max that I can do is probably half day, and that's it. I'm ready. My body starts complaining.
Right.
Amazing. Right. Yes. Any questions from devotees on this powerful, Prabhu, there's one question that's coming to my mind. And
sure.
One devotee asked us many years ago, and this devotee said, based on time, place, and circumstance, it's a challenge when we need to find a place where we can just sit and chant. So sometimes our mind is so crazy. Sometimes, even just by ourselves, how can we create an environment that is peaceful and spiritual in this, in Kali Yuga, knowing that we can be bombarded by the outside external, by the externalities? How can we create that environment?
Yeah, it's a very good question that you have asked, because this is so important for our spiritual life. As you know, all our spiritual advancement, as Srila Prabhupada said, depends, 99% of your advancement comes from the quality of your chanting your rounds. So it is very important for us to make this a top priority, that I will chant good quality rounds every day, because this is my connection with Krishna. And for that, one has to be very deliberate. One cannot be whimsical, one cannot be lackadaisical, or one cannot be like, okay, flying by the seat of my pants, okay, maybe tomorrow, maybe. No, one has to make a very deliberate attempt to create a sacred space. And His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj even conducted a retreat, creating a sacred space in your heart. He says your heart is always with you, wherever you go. So make that your sacred space. That means you train your mind and body to start thinking of your inner self as a temple in which you're going to enter and connect with Krishna. He says, get into this mindset that when you are chanting, you're chanting. When you are chanting, you're with Krishna. When you are chanting, you're going to go into the temple of your heart. So you may need to create an external environment, especially initially. You may need to make one corner of your home or something like that, a sacred space where you just sit down and there's no other distraction. You're not looking at anything else except the deity pictures or the deities themselves or the sacred books, and you have your incense and you have maybe your soft japa of your spiritual master going on. All those things are very important. And then becoming very intentional. Before we chant, we have to prepare our minds to chant. If you just jump into the chanting with all our thoughts going at 80 miles an hour, chances are those thoughts will be going 80 miles an hour and you will just be mechanically chanting. You see? So we have to make a deliberate attempt to pull out the plug, to pull out all those wires where our mind is plugged in and plug into Krishna's words. And that may mean having some, affirmatory statements. You may like to make some mantra cards for yourself, write some affirmations for yourself, or read out some favorite passage from Bhagavatam that increases your enthusiasm to chant well, or even reciting the Namashtakam prayers, Shikshashtakam prayers. These are all very beneficial. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave us a morning program. Ideally, it's best to chant Mangalarti, chant all your prayers to your spiritual master, Tulsi Puja, Nashikadev Puja, chant avoiding the 10 offenses to the holy name, chant the Shikshashtakam, and then sit down in the association of devotees and chant your own. That is the best. We're talking about the superlative, the topmost. Now, you may not be able to go to the temple, you may not be able to do. So make your own abbreviated Mangalarti program at home. You may begin at 5, you may begin at 6, that doesn't matter. But chant short version of Mangalarti. That means chant some prayers to your spiritual master, chant your Nrsimhadev prayer, pray to the Lord, because Lord Nrsimhadev protects our japa also. Sometimes devotees think, we have to chant Nrsimhadev prayers only when we travel, only when we go out. No, we pray to Lord Nrsimhadev, please protect my japa. Please carry to me what my lap, please preserve what I have. And Lord protects our japa also. So we pray to Lord Nrsimhadev, Tulsi Devi, and then we chant short Shikshashtakam prayers, and we can start chanting our rounds that way. That way, you're preparing your mind to chant. This is very important to understand. Just like an athlete, when he is going for the race, he doesn't suddenly go, running out onto the field. He does his warm-ups, right? He does his push-ups, he does his warm-ups, he gets his body limbered, he gets into the rhythm, he gets into the flow, and then he's ready for the race. Similarly, we have to make our minds ready for chanting by preparing to chant, by being very intentional, and most of all, by praying to the Lord for his mercy to not be inattentive. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, inattention is the cause of all the offenses. And he says one cannot acquire attention except by the mercy of the Lord. My dear Lord, it is only by your mercy that I can avoid the sin of inattention. So please give me your mercy. He says we cannot overcome destruction on our own endeavor. It's not possible. He says we have to pray for the mercy of the Lord to overcome inattention and destruction. Then the Lord, being pleased with our prayers, will grant us that mercy. So chanting is not a joke, and chanting is not a small thing. Chanting is the biggest endeavor of our day. It's very hard work.
I really liked how you made two amazing points that it's so powerful. Creating a sacred space in the heart.
Yes.
Really, really like that. It's like I really have to really meditate on that. It's such a beautiful point. Creating a sacred space in the heart. And I like the other point that, that's really nice, Prabhu, is...
That was Sachinandan Maharaj. Sachinandan Maharaj gave, retreat based on that. And I'm just relaying what Maharaj said.
Yes. And also the point where you said, praying to Lord Nrsimhadev to protect our japa. I was like, whoa, that's pretty powerful. I never thought about it that way. And like you said, we are always praying to Lord Nrsimhadev when we travel, when someone falls sick, someone left the body, but we never thought of praying to the Lord to protect our japa. And I said, that's a beautiful thing. I will definitely do that, to pray to Lord Nrsingadev to protect my japa. Wow, that's amazing, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing that point up. Really, yeah, something that I can add to my list.
Yes, yes. Sometimes I think that if we just keep giving classes on how people can improve their japa, we'll automatically be uplifting the consciousness of everyone in ISKCON.
So true. I completely, it's the rounds, because I think sometimes when we think, oh, if we do this, if we do that, no, if you just do the japa, just get that done.
Right. Yeah, His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita, what is that his name? Bhakti Rasamrita
Sindhu Maharaj.
Something, yeah, Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, something. He says, if you do this one thing right, then everything will be all right.
Wow, yeah, absolutely.
If you do this one thing right, then everything will be all right.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? And so true.
So true.
If we just get some good rounds done in the morning, what a difference it makes to the day.
Yes, completely.
Completely. And the day I don't get my rounds done, I'm all over the place. And I know.
Haywire.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. Something or other is going to happen. I'm in bad consciousness. I start snapping at people. I'm not in good consciousness. Something or the other. And then I'm chasing my rounds. I'm trying to do some. It's a mess. It's a mess, isn't it?
It's huge.
But when you wake up early and you chant nicely, you have such a good start to the day. Man, there's nothing like that feeling,
Amazing.
And I'm preaching to myself here. I'm trying to tell myself, okay, now you wake up early morning and chant now.
One thing I do know, Sri Devi, that I will start doing, because you just made a wonderful point, is I will definitely pray to Lord Nrsingadev to protect my japa, because that is so powerful.
Yes.
That is so powerful for me, really powerful. That there were times in my life many years ago when I was going through spiritual challenges, and Bhakti Marg Swami gave me this amazing advice. He said to me, Anasuya, you pray to Lord Nrsingadev and you earnestly pray where you can really see him tearing your mind, like how with his claws. He said, you keep doing that and he will remove your pain or burden that you've been carrying from the hurt. I said, okay, Maharaj, whatever you say, and I did it. And for months, almost 18 months to 2 years. And I can strongly say that the Lord worked. So I have a special connection with Lord Nrsingadev. So I'm going to go beg him. I'm going to go beg him again.
Wonderful.
I am going to go beg him and ask him, Lord Nrsingadev, protect my japa, please.
Yeah, and if you like this prayer, Anasuya, I have found it personally, as you have shared your experience, let me share this particular prayer that I pray for fearlessness has actually helped me become fearless.
Wow.
Because I was filled with so many different fears, I first came to India, oh my God, how will I live? How will I manage? What will I do? It's filled with so many apprehensions, so many fears. And then I started saying this prayer. Prahlad Maharaj says this prayer. It is, I think, 5:18:8, if I remember correctly, that Vajranakha Vajra Dhamstra. I'll just tell you the translation.
Okay.
Oh my Lord Nrsingadev, you are the source of all power. I offer my humble obeisances unto you. O Lord, who possess nails and teeth, just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activities in this material world. Wow. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy, we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world.
Wow. Yep,
yeah,
5:18:8. Thank you so much, Mathura. Wow. Yeah. Definitely will go there. Powerful, because we need, Prabhupada says he wants generals, right? So we have to be fearless to be generals. He doesn't want foot soldiers. So we cannot be foot soldiers. So we have to be generals. So we have to be fearless. That's a very nice prayer, Prabhu. I'm going to
Yeah.
definitely meditate on that prayer.
I don't know that I've become fearless, but whatever fears, those old fears at least are gone. Maybe some new fears are there now after that pray, but at least those apprehensions are gone now.
Yeah, amazing, amazing prayer, amazing prayer. Yeah, Lord Nrsingadev, he's a protector of everyone. So yeah, of everything, anything. So, but I am definitely going to pray about the japa, Prabhu. Thank you so much for. It's definitely for me today. That's my message. I feel that Lord Nrsingadev can protect our japa. I never thought of it that way. Thank you for bringing that up. Really
Yeah, I
amazing.
say only the English translation, but actually, if you really like it, the Sanskrit is so musical, it is so beautiful. Just saying the Sanskrit is also very powerful, you know? You want me to
Wow.
say it one time real quick?
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up
Yeah, okay.
and I can share it right now. So that way, let me do this. Let me, oh, wait, what am I doing? I'm going to, oh, wait, Vrinda has to do it. That's right. Vrinda, can you go to 5:18:8, Manoharini, sorry. No, Amma, Vrinda, Amai, Bhagavatam, Canto 5, sorry, ma.
5:18:8. Or you can click on the link that Mathura Malini sent.
18.
I think she's going to get the link. These young people have faster ways than I do.
Mathura Malini has sent it
There
in
we
the
go.
chat. Click on the link.
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. Such a beautiful rendition. Just see this prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Namaste Tejase Avir Bhava Vajranakha Vajradamshra Karma Shayan Randhaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuishta Om Shram. Just saying it makes you feel fearless.
Completely. Yeah. It's really powerful. And especially chanting. I was speaking to not speaking, one devotee was giving class from Philadelphia. And that also really touched my heart. She said that when we chant, in the mornings in our own space, whether it's in the living room or, den, whatever, it's like our spiritual date with the Lord, and I really like how she said that. It's my time with the Lord. It's our spiritual date with the Lord. So whenever I go down to my living room and chant in the mornings, it's just me in my living room space. It's like my date with Krishna,
Well said.
Yeah,
Very
that was a
nice.
nice point she mentioned also, was really, really nice. That really, I said, wow, this is nice. I can have a date with the Lord in my rounds. That's amazing, so in the
Such a
morning
nice
rounds.
meditation, yeah?
Yeah, I really appreciated that thought from her. That input from her was really nice. Yes. And there's a comment from Dear. Okay, very nice. Dear Krishna is asking Prabhu, Hare Krishna Mataji, accept my obeisance, Shri Prabhupada. Wonderful class, how to be fearless as well as not become proud in spiritual life. Wow, amazing. Please advise few points.
Yeah, it's a very good question you have raised because, as we advance in our spiritual life, there is a chance that we will become proud if we are not careful. One thing we must understand, the nature of the soul is to be humble. So when we understand that any advancement we are making is not our endeavor, it is Krishna's mercy, the spiritual master's mercy, which is allowing us to do more service, which is allowing us to make advancement. Then we realize Krishna is doing everything. It's not me, because by myself, what can I do? I can't do a thing. I cannot raise my finger from here to here if the Lord doesn't will it. It is only by his will that I can even speak. It is by his will that I can turn my head this way, that way. So we are helplessly at the mercy of the Lord every moment. Then where's the question of becoming proud? Any moment, He can take away my speaking power. Any moment, He can make me paralyzed or have an accident or anything. Because the material energy is not in my hands, it's in Krishna's hands. So any moment, anything can change. So when I'm helplessly at the mercy of the material energy, how can I become proud? I cannot. It's not possible. So by remembering how little we are, how insignificant and powerless we are. Sorry. By how helpless we are, we can remember that all our power is coming from Krishna. Any moment He can take it away. That will keep us humble. That will keep us humble.
Dear Krishna, I hope that helped. Said yes, loud and clear. We'll never forget it, he says. Thank you, dear Krishna. Very nice question.
Why is everybody so shy and not putting on the cameras? I would love to see all of you.
Let's see if we can get them to turn their cameras on. Whether we are, don't be shy. Yeah. Oh, where's let me stop the shares. Oh, Brinda, can you stop the share? Manoharini, sorry. Can you please stop the share screen? It's taking me a while to switch from their birth name to their initiated name, Sri Devi. I get corrected quite a bit by my girls.
Oh my God. 5 devotees.
There they are.
Nitya Prabhu, we have Nitya Gopal Das.
That's Mathura right there.
Oh wow, my humble obeisances to all of you. So wonderful to see you all.
Yep. Yeah, we have a great, these are devotees that join our classes in the mornings. Some do, some, but these are the majority of our devotees. But yes, amazing points, amazing class. And I hope that
I can tell you guys that you all are in very good hands. You all are in very good hands. Parikshit and Anasuya have raised me in Krishna consciousness. I was a toddler when I first came to Gita Nagari. I didn't know a thing. I was like a baby sucking from a bottle.
I remember your first visit, Sri Devi, for Christmas and New Year's.
You were the one who called me. He said, you can be on the campus over there. You have to come to Gita Nagari. I will never forget that.
Hare Krishna. You were actually quite exciting personality anyway. So you had, this was very good. I remember sometimes that when you were, finishing your graduate work and we had questionnaire and we had to answer some questions to help you to complete the project.
Yeah, I was doing my PhD
and
I
then
interviewed all of you for my thesis.
Yeah. And then after that, one class that I remember is the class where Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and Chandramauli Swami were on at the same time. And you fired quite a few questions. So I could tell your excitement then, So it was directed more towards Krishna consciousness. The material things were brought up, they were discussed, but then they were asked, the term is being used, they were Krishnaized. And now, it makes a big deal. I remember those times. I'm not just going to go into detail, but just like everybody that comes into Krishna consciousness, first we have our own ideas, and then of course we come to Krishna consciousness and things get explained better to us. So Chandramauli Swami has been very, very merciful to you. Bhakti Tirtha Swami was also in the background through all of this. And now here you are. This is wonderful, very exciting. And I really pray that the enthusiasm, which is so important, is kept up. And I know challenges do come. They do come. And there's sometimes that when you and Chandramauli Swami is going back and forth in the Zoom class, and you're trying to get his mercy to go on. Yeah, the challenges are that we all feel it. I'm going through some right now with my physical body, but I got to go on. I've got to go on. And thank you for reminding us about chanting, especially chanting strong rounds. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj likes to use strong rounds. Prabhupada says good rounds. They're all the same thing. Hare Krishna.
Right. Hare Krishna. And I will call you whenever I feel down and I have to need some sympathy and commiseration. I'll pick up the phone and call Parikshit Prabhu, Anasuya, help.
We will help each other.
I can't wait for you guys to come over in February.
You know, I also want to share with devotees that if anybody has any would like any guidance on marriage therapy, women, challenges, anything with self-development, Sri Devi is the person. That's her background. She actually has a PhD in marriage therapy, family counseling, abuse, trauma, and all that stuff. She's really good. She counsels a lot of women, a lot of married couples in Mayapur. And we all know that it's very challenging in Mayapur because in India, especially, that concept is very foreign, Like, what is counseling? That's Maya. So Sri Devi has amazing service to do in India. So if anyone, if you know of anyone, any help with, strengthening women challenges, marriage therapist, trauma, abuse, anything of that sort in Grihastha life, please contact Sri Devi. She's really, really good. She does that service now in Mayapur, and her spiritual master, His Holiness Chandramali Swami, keeps her very, very, very engaged. So please do see her, and if you need her contact, please let me know, and I will definitely share it with you. But thank you all. And if there are any questions from devotees.
Just a quick interjection. Not only me, there are many other counselors also on our team. You're welcome to look up our website, Grihastha Vision Team website. It's called VaishnavFamilyResources.org. And there are many, many counselors. You can even send your questions anonymously if you feel like, and somebody will respond to you. There's also a resource list of various counselors in different, countries like that. So you're welcome to look at it. Mother Krishna Nandini and Mother Praharna started this just to help grihasthas, young couples, middle-aged couples, old couples, and actually everyone. She wanted that ISKCON becomes very strong by having strong, loving, healthy relationships at all levels. So you're welcome to explore our website. I think you will find it useful. And
very, very nice. Yes. That that website is amazing. I go there a lot, to get tips and ideas for other young couples when they have questions and they come to me, or when they are trying to think of getting into the so-called, I use I still use the ISKCON lingo, associating, I was told that's a very outdated lingo, but I still use associating. So whenever, young couple want to ask questions about associating, I go there and get my tips so that I can help them, because, I'm come out of for like 30 years ago. So that's a very nice website for devotees to go. And there are a lot of
I have to compile that list of questions, the premarital questions.
I love it. The 40 questions, I think it's amazing, Sri Devi. It's very powerful for young. I always tell them, go through that, do your homework before you say. Very nice, so please.
Actually, 100 questions on different aspects of Grihastha life. And I was asked to compile that, and I remember poring over it and making that list. And you know what Uttama told me? That's the most often hit article in our whole website.
Really? Wow, amazing.
We get the most hits for this particular article on our website.
Yep, that article is amazing. Powerful, powerful. I would definitely request devotees. In fact, this service to do the Grihastha Vision Ministry was given by Srila Prabhupada to Mother Krishna Nandini.
That's right.
He gave that service, and he told her to please make strong devotee families in ISKCON. And she took it upon herself, and she did an amazing job until she left her body. And now the baton is passed on. So, yes.
To Anasuya and Parikshit. Who are raised two wonderful devotee girls in Krishna consciousness and are raising all of us also.
I don't know about that one, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Parikshit Prabhu has his hand raised.
Just a little joke here, but a part of it is quite serious, because sometimes when we hear about counseling, some of us are not open to, talking about things that bother us. And sometimes people think that well, it's my private life and I have to just keep it secret. Or how do I know that if I talk to a counselor, that something that's very confidential that I've told him or her won't come out later on somewhere else? And that there's always that concern for some people. I have to admit that I came to ISKCON before I began to appreciate the power and the benefits of counseling. You know, one of those in my science background, I used to say, oh, you go to a counselor, that means you don't know how to live your life. Somebody has to teach you how to live your own life. That's how literally joke about it. But then I found out when points about counseling came out in different meetings at Gideon Agri, then I realized how powerful it is. So if anybody has that kind of doubt, counselors are sworn to confidentiality. So don't worry about that part of it. And please open up and speak. And you'll be surprised how many things that you never thought of that a counselor will be able, especially the devotee counselor. Don't go to a county counselor. We definitely have to do with the devotee counselor because they're the ones that understand you. They will be very, very, very helpful to you. So take advantage of counseling services. Any society that has it is doing a great service to its members. So that's all I wanted to add to it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yes, amazing. And I always, direct devotees to devotee counselors. It's the best. Thank you. If there are no other questions from devotees, and I really like Hare Krishna's question, I'm still thinking about that's really powerful question, actually. If there are no questions from devotees, thank you, Sri Devi, for such a wonderful, uplifting, enthusiastic food for thought class. Really amazing points, especially really focusing on our chanting. Thank you to all the devotees for your questions and your presence and your feedback. Vancha Kaptibhyascha, Kripasindabevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
My pleasure, privilege, and honor to be with all of you. Please bless me. That's all I beg you. Please give me your blessing to keep going, just like Prabhupada and Bhakti Tita Maharaj until